Hello everyone, welcome back to the garden for episode number 4 in our little mini how-to series. So far we've learned how to jump, corner, whip, and now on to what everyone is waiting for, tricks. That's why we're here on the final trick jump here in my back garden. We've actually got two to choose from, this big airtime beast on the left, but also today we're going to utilise the little spine, a little safer for learning tricks. We can learn a few basic tricks, anyone interested on an enduro bike, and also later some basic tricks for hardtail. This how-to series is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build a beautiful online presence and run your business. So we're going to start off on the enduro bike here with probably one of the most basic and fun and safe tricks you can do, which is a crank flip. I'd recommend it. Maybe if you've never done a trick before, this could be your first trick, mainly because you can actually practice it on flat ground. Basically, as the name suggests, you just flip the cranks around like that. A few tips for this one. First of all, the more airtime you actually have, the easier it's going to be because you've got more time to sort yourself out. We're going to go on the smaller of the two jumps on the right here because it's lower speed, a bit safer, and hopefully can show you what's going on nicely. Pump our tyres up a little bit because on the compression of the ramp they might fold, so I actually got 35 psi in today, a little harder than usual, just to deal with that compression. And apart from that, you don't really need to change anything about your bike to do a crank flip. As long as the cranks go around, should be fine. A good idea for this when you're learning is probably to have shin pads on, at least. I actually don't have shin pads on, but yeah, if it's your first time, I'd recommend shins. You'll find out why if you don't use them. What we're going to want to do as we go off the jump, I'm right foot forward, so with my back foot, my left foot, I'm going to push the cranks down to about sort of there first of all, and then once the crank is up there, I'm going to use my right foot, the front foot, to flick it backwards. Not as hard as I can, but a good little flick. And then you catch it again there with the same front foot, then put the back one on. So it should look a bit like that. But just do it in the air. But this is a great trick because you can literally just ride around and do this until you've got it dialed, and then you can try it in the air, which is way more fun. Right, so now we just have to stay calm and do exactly the same thing in the air. You just ride the jump exactly how you actually would, wait until you've totally taken off, and then do your little crank flip, then ride away like a boss. Hopefully like this. Once you've dialed in crank flips on small safe jumps, you can literally do it kind of anywhere in the whole world, which is why it's cool. And the worst that's going to happen is you're just going to land on your seat. So that's why it's the first trick we're learning today. The reason you have to push your back foot down is to get a bit of purchase to give it that flick back. And if you don't do that, this happens and you look a bit stupid. Oh, look at that! Okay, so there's our first trick that we should learn. Second one, we're going to take things up another couple notches, maybe for the intermediates. If a crank flip's a 1 out of 10 on the gnarly scale, and Emil doing his crankworks run is a 10 on the gnarly scale, this is probably a 2 or a 3. It's the suicide no hand, everyone's favourite bike park trick. Pretty simple, looks cool, but can be gnarly. So, I would suggest a few things when you no-hander. The important things to remember when you're up in the air is to make sure you're kind of flat and level flying through the air before you do anything. If you try and push too early off the takeoff, it's going to make you go wonky. So make sure you do the jump a few times, and then only when you're steady and confident in the air, then start to do the things, which is to kind of grab the seat with your knees. It's quite easy, again, you can practice on the floor. Grabbing with your knees, that stops the bike dropping away or actually moving in any way once you take your hands off, because the bike has a tendency to kind of flop around unless you grab with your knees, so that's pretty important. I'd also suggest just doing a few tries, lifting your fingertips up like that, getting the feeling of when you take your hands off and you've got no control over the bars, and that's exactly how I learned probably 15 years ago. I remember it well. And yeah, slowly just go up bigger and bigger and bigger. Then once you get good, you can really start dropping the front down and getting the hands back for ultimate style points. So to round up, always best to take a couple warm-ups. Like I said, maybe do a jump just to sort of make sure you're flying evenly through the air, grab the seat with your knees to see how it feels. Then next go, do exactly the same, and when you're a bit more comfortable, start to take your hands off, and then when you're really ready, stretch out those wings behind your back. The idea is to get your back as far leant back as you can and hands as far away from bars as possible for ultimate suicide no-hander style. And there you go. And once you've learned no-handers, again, pretty cool. You can do them anywhere, on the jumps, you can do them on the bike parks, you can do them across a train line, or if you're like sick Mick Hanna, you can do them on the last jump at every World Cup downhill race. So those are two of my favourite basic tricks that we can do on our trail bike anywhere. But now, let's get over to the jump bike, do a few more dirt jump specific-y kind of tricks. Okay, dirt jump time. Much easier for tricks, more fun, kind of more what it's made for. So you can do things a little bit more difficult, but let's start off with a simple one. And because we've got less cables, we can actually turn the bars a lot easier. For probably the first trick I ever learned, which was an X up. Just basically do that, make an X with your arms. Kind of cool. You definitely don't want to land like that. You can actually land like that, but then you have to stop or turn it around again. But yeah, quite fun, nice, easy one. A few tips, jump the jump as you would. Same with kind of most tricks actually. Wait till you're up in the air, make sure you're stable. And you want to have your weight mainly through your legs, so you've got no weight going through your arms, that way that you can turn the bars a lot easier. Again, you can just practice on the ground like that, and then it's exactly the same in the air. So yeah, main tips for that, I'd say most of your weight through the back of your body so that you've got no weight on your arms. Push it through, kind of almost fingertips, so it's sort of light and floaty, you don't want to be forcing it. And once you can do that, you can do a 1 foot X up, which is quite a fun, easy add-on. Actually, I think it makes it easier because you can kind of twist your body with your foot and get even more X up. And then you can do that in a 360 or even a backflip and stuff as well. So X up is a very versatile, basic move, but a really fun one. So there we go, X ups, 1 foot X, 360 X's, flip, X up 1 foot, that's good fun. Let's dial it back once again for the next trick, which is going to be a medium difficulty. But first, time for a quick message from today's video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is designed for any purpose. Every template design supports all major content types, including pages, galleries, blogs, commerce, calendars, and more. Buying a domain from Squarespace is simple because there are no hidden fees or price hikes. Squarespace spell over 200 top domain names so you can find the perfect name for your website. Choose a URL that ends in .com, .net or .org, maybe even something more specific like .art. Create a community on your Squarespace website with a fully integrated commenting system that supports comments, replies and likes. So head to squarespace.com to get a free trial, then when you're ready to launch, use the link in the description below to get 10% off your first website or domain. Tuck no hander or 2 foot can, Gomez? A tuck no hand we're going to learn today. So this is different to the no-hander that we learned earlier on the enduro bike. Because the enduro bike has like a nice high seat, it's quite easy to grab with your knees, so that's called actually a suicide no-hander. Not exactly sure why, but it just is. That's kind of better for those kind of bikes, but for a dirt jump bike or BMX style, where you don't have that seat to grab with your knees, you can grab something else to keep the bike stable, and that's the bars. So we're going to do either a tuck no-hander, or an old school no-hander, or even a condor no-hander, some people call it. Basically, instead of grabbing the seat with your knees, you kind of lean forwards and you grab, people grab different things actually, but I kind of push the bars into my lap here. So I bring the bike up to make it quite upright, then bend over, and that kind of pinches the bars between your knees and stomach, and then you're free to take your hands off and do as you please with them. Then you kind of want to grab them, and then you can release and then flatten the bike back out for landing. So again, like the suicide no-hander, I would definitely recommend making sure you're doing the grab properly and starting off small. So maybe do 1 run, making sure you're just getting the grab, bringing the bike in, bending over, making sure everything's solid and secure in there, and then flattening out for the landing. Next time, come up, maybe do the same, and just take the fingers off, maybe the hands, and make sure you got that. What I wouldn't do is 1 hand, because then that would sort of maybe make it go a bit wonky. This is kind of a trick just for both hands. So yeah, we can skip 1 hand altogether and just go straight for the no hands, I'd say. And then Once you've got that comfortable, then you're free to spread the wings once again and soar through the air like a majestic bird. So yeah, I guess top tips for that: make sure you're stable in the air, make sure the bike's clamped nicely, lean forward, bring the bike up to you, hands off. I like to do them up as big as I can, but some steezy guys quite like to do it down, so you can do that. And you can do it upside down in the back foot, which is also a pretty legendary move. So I was thinking about bar spins for this one, but maybe we'll save that for a future episode because actually they're quite hard. And this is more for basics. So one of the more difficult early tricks I learned and still love doing now is a 2-foot can or a no-foot can. I don't know what the difference is, I think it's the same. But basically, it's where you take both your feet off and you swing them both out to the side. I guess the name comes from the can, the sort of song, dance thing where you put your foot through. So that's a 1-foot can. And then 2-foot can is just with both feet off to the side, which I kind of find easier and I think it's cooler. So the most dangerous thing about this trick is if you kick your top tube on the way over, or even worse, on the way back, because obviously it will kind of make you go wonky. Or if you hit your friend's head like I did at the skate park the other day, that's dangerous too. So yeah, just make sure once you've gone up the ramp, same as every trick, make sure you're level first of all, but kind of use the pop of the takeoff to kind of lift your feet up above so you've got more clearance over the top tube. Then just kind of twist your body a bit to the left, not quite 90 degrees, maybe 45 or something like that. That'll make it easier just for you to step this foot through there. I'm right foot forward, so that kind of makes it easier for me to step my right foot through and get it back again onto the front pedal, but not the same for everyone. It kind of just personal preference, I'd say. But yeah, things to look out for: not popping forward too hard, because once you take your feet off you kind of don't have control, so that might pitch you through the air. Just being stable in the air, and make sure you don't kick it on the top tube. Again, work up to this trick. Start with a few no-footers, make sure you've got that dialed, and then put them through a little bit more each time until you can really extend it, and then you can start twisting your body and turning it into more of a sort of Indian 2-foot can out the back. So yeah, once you got them dialed, you can really start twisting your body a bit more, getting that foot even higher, which looks cool. You can take one hand off. You can even take both hands off. And you can actually do them in a backflip as well. You can even try it in a 360. I can't do that. Some people can. Really difficult though, but 2-foot can, just a really cool trick, especially when you start swinging off the back. You can do that on big bikes as well, and it's a super rad trick. So yeah, that was quite cool. And the funnest thing about tricks is when you start linking them together as well. So we've got 3 jumps in a row here. So let's try and use those last 3 tricks we've done and put them all together in a run. Cool, there we go. Endless amounts of tricks you can do, joining them up like that. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Those are kind of the funnest, most basic, but awesome tricks I could think of. If you've got any more ideas, then maybe we could do another few episodes in this how-to series, but I hope you enjoyed the series. If you missed any of them, they'll all be in this playlist, so check them out. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.